What is good, everyone? Happy Sunday evening. Hope everyone is doing well today. Good to see y'all. We've been off a couple of days, but got some things to do, take care of, family stuff, and all that good stuff. But we are back today. And listen, I don't want to miss any players. I don't want to miss any days until players. So listen, first like the video and subscribe. Do that now. Click that like. All right, get that out the way. I want to show some love. Okay, for the last couple of days we missed. 2 days ago would have been 22 days, 22 Les Horvath days, Heisman Trophy winner at Ohio State back in the 1940s, until kickoff versus Texas. Had to show him love. Great all-time Ohio State player. And then the day after that, 21 Paris Campbell days. Such a beautiful pick. The speed, the embarrassment of speed against that team up north, especially in that game, 2018 game, one of the best Michigan games I can remember. They came in with the revenge tour, and all that other stuff. And y'all know what it was, 62 points later. And this was before they started, cheating a couple years ago. A couple years after that, I should say. And then we got 20 Nate Clements days, lockdown corner from the 90s. Some of y'all may be too young to remember, but he was nice. He was a nice corner back in the 90s, Cooper era. We had a lot of talent, although we had our struggles with the team up north, but we had talent. And then for today, of course, our guy James Peoples, we just did a show on him a few days ago. So he's the current 20 days until Texas kickoff in the shoe. And this young man is from Texas, and I think he's motivated and ready to get it in. Also, remember our pay it forward goes to our military, first responders. When you send a super chat, that helps to go towards them. And we're going to look out for them because they look out for us. We're going to keep saying it because it's true. But let's bring Nevada in. Nevada, welcome back, brother. How you feeling?
Good. I've been traveling a bit, so man, travel is just not easy. It just wears you out.
It does.
It just wears you out, and they don't make anything easy anymore. With traveling between getting through TSA and airports, and seats seem like they're closer together every year. And yeah, so I'm glad to be back, and great picks on your players of the day, as it were.
Thank you.
Sadly, Nate Clemens, you know what play I remember Nate Clemens for more than anything? I
I
don't know if
think
you
I know.
remember. Do you think? What do you think? What are you thinking?
Well, actually, no, I'm thinking about something else. I'm thinking about Sean Springs slipping. That wasn't Clements.
That
What
was
play
not
are you
Clemens.
referring to? Yeah, that
I'm
was Sean
thinking.
Springs.
Yeah, I'm thinking of 1998, Michigan State.
Ooh,
We're up big in the fourth
Plaxico.
quarter. Yep, the Plaxico game, and we hold them to a punt, and they're going to punt, and the game's going to be over, and they punt a short punt, and it hits Nate Clemens in the back,
Oh, that's right.
and
That
they
was
recover,
Clements.
it,
Oh,
and then the whole just that nightmare start. That was, you talk about games where, like, I mean, we're all emotionally charged up, and about Ohio State football, but like I literally teared up after that game.
that game was brutal.
Losing that was brutal. That
That
game
game.
was, oh, that game was
And
brutal.
and
I
Nick
mean,
Saban was the
was he?
coach, correct?
I don't. That could very well
Or
be.
was he on the
For
staff?
I don't know. I don't. He could have very well been the coach. All I remember is that left-handed quarterback that they had, the kid from Ohio, um, kept throwing passes to Plaxico Burress, and we couldn't stop him. And then we started running the ball at the end of the game, and I think Joe Montgomery was the running back, and we
Yeah.
got stopped twice on like 4th and 1 because we kept. It just everything went wrong, and in a non-expanded playoff scenario, that was it. I mean, that you lost that game, and that was it.
Yeah.
And that might have been the most talented Ohio State team in my lifetime,
Ugh.
certainly the most dominant. In a playoff scenario, I have no doubt they'd run the table, but Cooper just didn't get the benefit of a 4-team playoff or a 12-team playoff like Ryan Day did, and the rest is
Yeah.
history.
Two things. Yes, in 1998, Nick Saban was the head football coach. That team finished 6-6.
Oh,
And
yeah.
and I'm looking at it now with an upset win over Ohio State. Just so brutal. That game, Plaxico Burress, I think that single-handedly got him drafted that game. Now, for those who don't know, Plaxico, what is he, 6'6" at least? Six. He was a big, tall receiver, and it was just jump ball after jump ball after jump ball. It was just like, you got to be kidding me. So I want to ask you, because the 2015 loss to Michigan State at home, to me, sticks in my craw. This game does too. I was alive and well. I remember this game. But the 2015 Michigan State game, when we ran Ezekiel 3 or 4 times total, I'm exaggerating, but it was just a brutal game plan. They had their backup quarterback plan, and we lost. And we were undefeated. We went up to Ann Arbor next week and smacked the team up north, but we didn't make the playoffs. So let me ask you, out of these 2 Michigan State games, and I hope, Spiro, if you're watching, I'm sure you're smiling, which one hit you the hardest? I think I know the answer, but I'm going to ask anyway.
Well, it's funny. I'll expand on that answer. The 4 toughest losses in my lifetime, 3 of them were Michigan State games. Because I throw like that 2013 Big Ten championship game against, where we ran the ball on 4th and 1. Hiram couldn't get the block and lost that one. But no, 1998 for me, easily over 15. And the only other loss that's even remotely thing that wasn't a Michigan State game, ironically enough, was, and this is way before. This is when Little B Moses was just a gleam in Dad's eye. This is the 1975 Rose Bowl when we lost to UCLA after just dog walking them during the regular season, and we played a rematch against a team that we just crushed, and we managed to lose. And a young Nevada Buck is still smarting from that one right there. But yeah, Michigan State's definitely been our nemesis. Been on the other side of some just crazy wins, and yeah. So and ironically, like you said, 98 and 2015 were both in our stadium. There's wasn't like those were road games; those were in the stadium, and crazy that we lost them
against teams that had no business beating us.
No
business. And the 2015 team wasn't trash record-wise, but they rode in Columbus without their starting quarterback. And we had that team, and we can hop on to the topic in a minute, y'all. But we are trauma bonding right now, so bear with us, okay? That 2015 team, we looked back at the talent, obviously, that was on that team. Ridiculous. That game, I'm still bitter about that loss, the 2015 loss, because of the potential of what a Urban Meyer loaded, talented team like that could have did in the postseason. And so it just, now listen, we smacked Michigan up in the big blow, excuse me. But that, I just can't, I don't know, man. I'm still upset about that game. But yes, 1998, I was young, and I remember that game, and I was just perplexed. And you're right. That's a great shout out. 2013 Big Ten championship game. That was tough too, man. That was brutal. But I think Nevada, that's less of an impact because of what we did the following year.
Well, but what's interesting though, you think about it, like we're talking about 98 and we talk about 2015, and how we're still traumatized by these games all these years later. And let me put that in contrast to 2024 Michigan. 2024 Michigan, we were bigger favorites than either one of those games. Go up against a Michigan team to talk about undermanned and terrible. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They come in and they beat us, but because of the playoff format, we're still alive.
Yeah.
And because of the playoff format, and because everything, so it's funny how the history on these games is completely different. It's like 2024 doesn't even hurt a bit because we won the Natty. You know what I'm saying? Whereas I'm still mourning the 1998 game, 30 years later.
Right.
And but all because of the playoff format. So for love of a change in the playoff format, it changes everything. And it's I just find that so fascinating.
Yep, and that's a good point. Real quick, shout out to College Football Nerds. They posted this tweet, Nevada, and it basically says, this is relevant to what we're saying. It says, Ohio State fans do not care about losing to Michigan last year in the way that Michigan fans are convinced that they care. And then in the clip, I don't have to play the clip unless you want me to. It's only a minute. But basically, he's saying hey, like because of the expanded playoff and because they won a natty, like Michigan fans are all over social media, 13-10. And this is an outsider. For those who don't know, college football nerds, they're SEC guys. Now, I think they do a pretty solid job of not having their bias in play. They use models and numbers and stuff like that to come up with their predictions. But these are SEC guys. And so they're saying, listen, Michigan, like, and they brought up the Auburn example, like Alabama when they won a natty, when Auburn beat them. It's like Alabama don't care. They won a natty. They're going to have memories to tell their children's children. We're going to have memories to tell our children's children about the greatest 4-game playoff run in history. And honestly, the loss to the team up north will be told in that story to say, hey, yes, we lost to a team we had no business losing to, and it was terrible. And look what happened. And then at that point, you can start preaching if you want to, life lessons, comeback, adversity. You feel me? So y'all think we're up here just crying in the corner about losing to you guys. We're not. We're not. It was a footnote.
Yeah, but
Go ahead, brother.
I mean, no, I was going to say, if 2015, on a scale of 1 to 100, if the 2015 Michigan State game hurts to what, still a 99 with you or whatever, I mean, because 1998 is 100 for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, 2024 Michigan's a 1. I mean, that's just being honest, because like I really believe that was the juice that propelled us to the national championship. So I almost think back on it fondly. It's almost kind of amusing. So for them to be thinking that we're like all like huddled, in the corner, all sad pandas about losing to Michigan, like there's a big part of me that's grateful that that game went down the way that it did, because we had not played a complete game the entire season in 2024 until after we lost to Michigan, until after the players meeting, the soul searching that the coaches did, the changes in philosophy, the attack mode that Ryan Day went on. And I'm not convinced he does that if we beat Michigan. And think about how much different things are too. We beat Michigan. You know who we play the next week? Oregon. We play Oregon in the Big Ten
title,
Big Ten title game. And you know what? Maybe we play Oregon a third time in the playoff. And the dynamic of playing a team a second time and getting the revenge game on them, it flips on its head when you go to the third time when you play them. You know what I'm saying? So like everything about this thing could have been different. And so and that's not copium, that's not hopium, that's not dopium, that's not anything. It's just that's just truth serum right there, man. I don't even care. I mean, as we're looking back on the worst losses in my lifetime, the 2024 Michigan game doesn't make the top 100 because of what happened after it.
That's so true. And to your point, real quick, you mentioned the UCLA game in the 70s. It's hard to beat a team twice in one season, let alone 3 times, if that's the case, right?
Yeah.
So
it was super hard.
Yeah. So exactly. Listen, and you're right. But they want to, well, you guys are, no, we're not. We won a natty. This is the top of the list. Just because your grandpa's Big Ten made it mandatory for us to beat our rival to get to the postseason, to have a chance at an AP national championship. And then from there, the BCS and our other stuff, just because that's your grandpa's Big Ten doesn't mean, that's relevant today. It just isn't. It isn't. So, yes, back in the olden days, losing to the team up north was a little bit more valuable, to the winner because of how the format was. It's just not the case anymore. And listen, for y'all who want to, who and we'll move on after this, but for those who want to try to put words in our mouth and misrepresent us, the team up north game, the rivalry game, is still a very important game. We want to beat them every single season. We hate them. It's still a rivalry, still the greatest rivalry in sports. However, because of today's landscape and natties being at a premium, the number one thing on any college football team's list, it's just different. It hits different. A loss to them just doesn't sting like it used to. And that's just the facts of it. You can deal with it however you want to. But as for, like I said, I got my national championship. Here's my pillow. I got all types of memorabilia and memories. My son and my daughter, they watched Jack Sawyer rumble and stumble and bumble back to the end zone to beat Texas. And they, like, the memories are there. You know what I'm saying? So they forgot about Michigan quick when they saw their Buckeyes winning a national title, and they'll always have memories of that. And I'm done preaching, but yeah, there you go.
Well said. Well said.
Thank you.
And that's why you've got national championship trash in your man cave right there, spread out
National
over the
championship
kid.
Snickers wrappers in my.
Exactly. You're like, hey son, look at those things. Those hot dogs were only 50 cents a hot dog. Like, who knew?
Like, Daddy, like this Nathan's has ketchup all over it. Like, listen, don't worry about that, son. We're going to frame this. We're going to get a frame for this Nevada Bucks trash. This is going to be worth a lot of money. 20
Hey,
years
it was a lot of people's trash, man. I had a whole big bag of it, man. You know what I'm saying? A big bag of trash.
That is hilarious. But yes, listen. So now, here we are, 2025, coming off a natty, getting ready to try to chase another one. And we got some great information, y'all. We got some great updates from the scrimmage this past Saturday. And listen, man, it's hard to not get excited. Okay, I know some people, Nevada, they like to temper their expectations. I know a lot of and no knock on you, but they have their defense mechanism guy, their build a wall up guy so that they don't get their heart broken guy. That goes for anything, whether it be the hammer, even though the evidence is all in your face staring at you, you hedge to oblivion so you won't be disappointed. Even if there's talent out the wazoo and you're like, man, I don't know. Listen, we still got to play the season, but this team is as talented as you can get. And our coaching staff is as talented and as deep as you can get. I'm excited. And so, Nevada, I'm going to kick it off to you to get started with the scrimmage updates. And because I really want to hear what you have to say first and foremost. But yeah, brother, it's hard to not to continue to be excited as we get into the season, man.
Well, I mean, obviously a rite of passage in the fall camp are these scrimmages, and at scrimmages, obviously we always have eyes on the scrimmages. If you remember, BuckeyeScoop.com had a nice little camp update, scrimmage happenings report by the helping technician today. Talked about a number of things. We've talked to a number of people about what's going on at the during fall camp specifically, in general, and the scrimmages in particular. And I mean, the one thing that keeps coming out is how good the defense is looking. And this has been a little bit of a surprise to me because I've, with losing Knowles and we lost a tremendous amount of talent on the defense. We lost Cody Simon, who I thought was just a terribly underrated linebacker. Jordan Hancock, Denzel Burke, four starting linemen on the defensive lineman. So we lost a ton. And so, with that, you would expect the defense to take a step back. And I'm telling you, the defense may be ahead of schedule. And we saw it, at the scrimmage. They're doing a lot more with the way that they're presenting, the blitzing. They're doing a lot more stunting, a lot more twisting, which is stuff that they'd really kind of gotten away from during the Knowles. They were all about gap and tag. I think they're being a little bit, we've talked about the wide nine. I think that they're introducing more pro concepts, and that's a lot of twisting, stunting, playing games with the linebackers, so that linebackers don't get caught up in what the help technician calls the run muck, where you get up on the inside and you get caught up in the wash on those guys right there. And they're working a lot of that stuff to kind of free those guys, to be free runners. They've been working that Caleb down. They worked a lot of packages with Lincoln, where Lincoln's kind of presenting that RPO run pass option because they think that's what Arch Manning's going to do to them.
Yeah.
And how do you combat the RPO? That's basically a safety driven attack. And that's Jalen, that's Jermaine on the outside. That's what's the name of our other what's the name of our other safety? I'm blowing it. Malik Harford. I'm completely blowing it. And that's Caleb Downs at the nickel. And that's so they're playing games with that to try to combat the RPO because they think that they're going to see that a lot. And for Ohio State, they're doing a really good job of getting their best 11 guys on the field, and all 11 can run. This is a team. I think when you ask what's going to be the kryptonite, because every defense has got a kryptonite. Every defense has got what's the weak part of the defense, and this is just me speculating, but I wonder how we'll do, and I wonder how we'll adjust to like if we played a team that was like an old Wisconsin team. You know what I'm saying? Like an
Hmm.
old run heavy, six big bodies up in front, big running back, run the ball straight at you. You know what I'm saying? Kind of negate your speed by kind of coming right up the thing and kind of playing a smash mouth game. I mean, not that our guys couldn't do that, but I just want we haven't seen it, so that it hasn't proven a vulnerability yet. But that's the question. But I think the modern offenses, the RPO types of stuff, the spread offenses, the stuff where you can really kind of accelerate your, use your speed. I just think we're going to be okay. I don't think we're going to be as far behind. And I think we're going to be able to generate pressure a lot of interesting ways, a lot of unique ways, a lot of different ways to get to the quarterback. And I think guys like Kenyatta Jackson and Cade McDonald have just really, really, we thought they'd be good. They're probably better than we thought they were. They're probably ahead of schedule and even better. Kenyatta Jackson is a guy that really had a good weekend and is really, poised to have a huge 2025. So that's my story on the we can stick on the defense for a little bit, and then I'll let you talk, and then we can kind of go to the offense. But that's kind of what I've got on the defense for now. Lots of intriguing things being presented by Patricia. Obviously, the idea is to confound Arch Manning, make him think, make him a little indecisive.
Yes.
Because if one thing you can do with him, you can confuse him, because he has a tendency that if you take away his first read, he'll drop his head and he'll start running.
Yep.
And that's what I think Ohio State's going to try to do, at the end of the month when he's in the horseshoe. And I think that's what that's going to be kind of goal number one for the defense.
Yep, agreed. And that's the question with Arch is how much has he grown since last year? Going back watching him, he really sat back there and thought too much. I mean, he's just back there, just against some bad teams that he still got either sacked or had to throw the ball away and almost threw a pick. Like he has to be able to process and read faster. So has he improved with that? Now, here's the thing. It's one thing to see if you can improve against, coming out week one against a bad opponent, but it's another thing in the shoe against a Matty P defense and killer athletes. Because like you said, Nevada, yeah, sure. I mean, honestly, to be honest with you, outside of a just flat out veteran team that we're bringing in, I always want to see how our front does against a Wisconsin, Iowa type of attack on offense. Absolutely. You want to see where they hold up. But yes, we have speed to burn. We got plenty of sideline to sideline speed. And then also, real quick about Sonny, I think we're going to see a faster Sonny, not because he's necessarily gotten faster, but because I feel like the progression that he made last year, still learning the linebacker position, we start seeing it down the stretch of the season. And I think he's going to be faster because he's going to be able to trigger faster. I think he's more comfortable. He knows where he's supposed to be. He's not thinking as much. So Sonny Styles, with as hawking as he is, he'll be even faster processing. And Reese, that dude, if you haven't seen him in person, I mean, this cat is scary. He looks scary. He looks like a werewolf out there, like flat out. And so just imagine if your boy Arch doesn't make the right reads, or he's back there patting, and we send Reese on the blitz, I feel sorry for Arch. I really do. And like you said, Matty P is going to scheme him up. He's going to scheme Sark up, just like some of y'all saying, oh, watch out. Sark is going to scheme you up. That's fine. Go ahead, Sark. Do your thing. But the problem is you don't know exactly sure what you're scheming up with bringing Patricia in. I really like that, Nevada. But yes, I'll end with this so we can move on to offense. I wrote a little practice update notes, my observations last week. And the one thing I was talking about is the defense. And I told Devin Funk on the show that I, at least for that day, or at least for the moment, switched to being most excited about the defense. More and more people keep helping technician his write up. Shoot, even Jake Butt from Big Ten Network was talking about this defense and how this defensive line was a top 5 defensive line in his eyes. I'm just saying, man, this defense, more and more people are echoing what I said about the defense. It's there. It's exciting. It's vicious. It's physical. It's nasty. It's confidence, energy. Like that's what you want to see, man. So I'm excited. Yeah, let's talk about offense unless you want to say something to that.
No, I'm excited as well, and I mean, in all honesty, like I said, we pride honesty on the show. We tell you when we're excited, when we tell you when we're happy, when we're sad, whatever. I had I had concerns about the defense, but said it before. The defense had been running ahead of the offense during the spring, and that was something that was kind of an underreported kind of fact. And I know how prolific this offense is going to be. So, the defense continuing to make strides during the fall. Now, again, talk is cheap. We'll see how they do against
Right.
a really formidable opponent at the end of the month. But I'm definitely excited for it. Now, switching over to offense, a couple of things. A little programming note here. There's been much made out of Austin Seierveld taking reps at left tackle. What did that mean? And helping technician was able to kind of shed some light on that. Basically, what they're trying to do is they're trying to prepare for the scenario of what happens if your left tackle goes down, because
Right.
as unthinkable as that says, that could never happen to Ohio State. Could it be that you lose your starting?
Never.
Never.
What's
That
the
could
odds
never
of
happen.
that?
I was gonna say exactly. So they're just trying to prepare for life. What would happen, and I think their plan is, obviously, if Ethan went down, this is how good Austin Seiderveld, they'd switch him over to left tackle and move him in there, and then they'd probably bring Philip Daniels in at right tackle. So Ohio State just trying to play, you're trying to play chess, trying to stay 2 steps ahead on the
Yep.
offensive line. It's just a programming note in the offensive line. We've visited this before, but I think it's kind of a general thing. You guys know the battles that I fought over the offensive line stuff for the past 2 decades, about people complaining about the recruiting, the numbers, the guys, the quality, the thing. And I remember last year at this time, literally at this time last year, the offensive line was a 5 alarm fire in the eyes of a lot of Ohio State fans. And I
Yeah.
felt like I was the lone fireman with this little hose trying to spread it down things and saying, guys, we're gonna be fine. Oh, you're a sunshine pumper. Oh, Nevada, you don't know what you're talking. We'll never beat Alabama and Georgia. And and we know how that turned out. So
Right.
let me tell you again, we have a lot of dudes in the O-line
Dudes.
room.
Yes, we
We
do.
have a lot of dudes. Just because they haven't played doesn't mean that they can't play. They just haven't had the experience yet. And so this is a very, very good offensive line. It's a very, very deep offensive line. Now, that doesn't mean necessarily that they're going to come out and just maul people game one, because you've got some guys moving to new spots. You got some things. You've got a new offensive coordinator. You've got a new quarterback. You've got new skill position players, running back, tight end, etc. But once they get it going, this is going to be a very, very good line. And I think for Ohio State, they've got a lot of different options. They're moving through a lot of these different options because they're just trying to plan for the scenario of what happens if you lose your center, what happens if you lose your left tackle, how are you going to move? Because it's not the lines. You don't play it on the offensive line where you've got the first string left tackle and the second string left tackle, because your second string left tackle may be your first string right tackle. And you know what I'm saying? So it's about who are your 6 best, who are your 7 best, who are your 8 best, who are your 9 best. Remember last year we had to go to our ninth offensive lineman.
Crazy.
So that's what they're trying to figure out right now, is kind of the hierarchy. So when you hear shuffling on the offensive line, don't think shuffling. Just think of, contingency planning, trying to move guys around there to see, who's 6 best, 7 best, 8 best, ninth best, 10th best, etc. That's program number one. Number two, and I got to give you credit on this one, because I'm not saying I wasn't a believer, but you were more strident in your views. Brandon Ennis continuing to
Yeah.
shine. Brandon has
Yeah.
continue to shine. More twitchy, less stiffy, and and looking good. I mean, looking really, really good. And so he is gonna be a problem. And
Yeah.
another guy offensively that we just did a video on James Peoples, but CJ Donaldson, lighter, quicker to
Yeah.
the hole, runs with great impact, and yeah, had a big scrimmage. So yeah, a guy that could really. I'm not saying he's going to take over for James Peoples, but with running backs, you need a pair, at least a pair and a spare. Well, we definitely have a pair, and we got number of guys who could be the spare. So that's looking good as well. And finally, the cherry on the top is the quarterback position. I mean, not that you guys don't already know this, but it's Julian Sain. Julian Sain is the man.
Yep.
What now? When people start freaking out about, oh, I don't want to have a Stanley Jackson, Joe Germain situation. If you don't
Yeah.
have one quarterback, you don't have any. And look, everybody knows that. Okay, we get it. We get it on that. However, in the era of the portal and transferability and movement with players, you have to keep guys involved, especially at the quarterback position where you only play one guy at a time. So what Ohio State's doing is Julian Sain's the man, but they're trying to keep Lincoln involved and motivated and engaged because one, you just don't want his mind elsewhere. Two, Julian Saint could get hurt. I mean, if we've seen anything, it's like you better be
Right.
ready. You guys better be, especially in a 16, 17 game season. So the way that you engage him is by putting in practice. And practice doesn't necessarily mean just goal line. It doesn't necessarily mean just short yardage. It means trying to accentuate the things that he does well, because every quarterback does certain things well. They do things better. They make reads well. They throw to the left better. They throw to the right better. They throw deep better. They run play action better. Whatever it might be, they're trying to find things that they think that are the 11, 12 plays that Lincoln really really does well at, and try to put him in those situations where he gets to run some of those plays. So that's kind of the plan right now with the quarterback thing. Don't think of it as a quarterback shuffle. Just think of it as keeping multiple guys engaged during it. At the time, you're inevitably going to need both of them because it's such a long season. That's what Ohio State's doing. So more steps toward it. The best news of all for everybody: no major injuries. So
Yes.
that's the best
Yes.
news of all in these things, and the train keeps moving down the track.
I love it. I can just see the NIL commercial for Brandon Ennis. Brandon Ennis, more twitchy, less stiffy, or whatever product pops up on the screen. I love it. Hilarious. Listen, I'm a huge Brandon Ennis fan, not just because we got the same first name, even though that's a great thing. Yeah, you could just see the leadership on the field too is just everybody listens to him. He commands. Like I said, in practice, he didn't drop any balls. I don't expect him to be some, super burner deep all of a sudden, but getting in and out of cuts and routes and over the middle stuff and his physicality is going to be great for this team. So yes, I'm excited about that. But also I wanted to talk about something else with the practice update that we received on Buckeye Scoop is JJ Smith. Okay. Because one of the things, even to this day, Texas fans on social media are, basically talking trash about saying, hey, we shut down JJ Smith last time. We're going to do it again. This time we're going to win. Right. So the problem with that is that there's a couple of things. We kind of shot ourselves in the foot early in that game and kind of got behind the 8 ball. We started pressing. So yes, Texas did a good job with that cloud coverage. Okay. Where they drop a corner into the flat zone and then, they'll like bring a safety, takes the deep half of the field. And sometimes it'll look like a cover 2, but it's really cover 3, principle wise. They may try to do that. That's fine. Go ahead and try to do that. But you best believe JJ Smith, Brian Hartline, Ryan Day, every offensive mind on this staff is going to be like, look, we're not letting this happen again. And one of the things they're doing to prevent this from happening is moving him around all over the line, shifts, movement, finding the matchup, making that Texas defense adjust to that. And you're not just going to pigeonhole JJ, at him at the X receiver position, and you just know where he's going or what side of the field he's going to be on. No. It's not going to be any of that this time. And that's one of the parts of this, nugget that we got that I was excited about because, Texas has a good defense, and their zone defense is they run it very well. They're very good at what they do. But that's one thing I think that's really, really going to negate a lot of what they like to do. Not to mention, that we have Max Clare, these tight ends, and our other receivers to help, pick their poison or make them pay for trying to key in on JJ. So Nevada, that right there, how exciting is that to hear that they're implementing that they're working on it? Now, that's something just from an outside looking in as a football mind, you're like, hey, that's something you should do. But to hear that they actually are and they have a plan for that, how excited are you about that?
Well, I mean, look, you saw it. There was that famous clip that was during the Notre Dame, the national championship game, where they lined JJ up on the outside and kind of set up that reverse action with him,
Yeah.
and he moved his feet, and
Yes.
they were all screaming that he had his inside, his foot, his foot, his foot, and then
Right, right.
he faked it and then and did the orbit motion, just went out the other way, and he was wide open for the touchdown, and kind of walked in. I mean, there's a lot of spy versus spy. There's a lot of
Yeah.
false tells and showing things that they think they're picking up on, but you're just really giving disinformation all the time. And I mean, Ohio State had been setting that up the whole year to run
Yep.
that, and so you just never know. But I think the idea of moving JJ, and look, sometimes, and again, I'm not giving away the goat, but they lined him up in the backfield. I mean, they're doing all
Yeah.
sorts of things with JJ in terms of moving them all over the field in terms of doing it. And you're right. It makes it really hard on a defense. It makes it really easy on a defense when he lines up in a traditional spot and you can kind of, roll coverage over the top and, bracket him or do whatever you want to do with him to, negate his impact. But when he's moving all over the field, it's hard. I mean, it's hard because now you're asking a lot of different guys to account
Yep.
for him in a lot of different ways. And so, yeah, no, I think that's going to be one of the great chess matches. There is going to be, how they utilize JJ Smith. And, you know, frankly, yeah, I mean, I don't care if JJ catches the ball. I mean, I know you don't either. We just want to win the game. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If they want to, just pour all their attention on JJ Smith, we have enough other weapons to punish them. You know what I'm saying? But
Yep.
moving him around, that just I think I think by moving him around, what it forces them to do is it forces them to play you a little bit more honestly defensively.
Yeah.
And when they play you more honestly defensively, then they kind of get the thing that they fear the most, which is kind of those one-on-one matchups with JJ, where they haven't been able to account for him, they haven't been able to get additional help with him, and then they're really going to pay. So I mean, I think this, for me, I see this as a low scoring game. I mean, I don't I see this more a 24-17 type of game, or 21-14 as a shootout. Now watch will go out, there'll be 65-64 people in Nevada, you big dummy. But I'm definitely playing the under. I think the over under is 48.5. It feels undery to me because I just think the defenses are going to run it ahead of the offenses. And I think the way that this game's going to be won by who can make the bigger plays. And if you're looking for big plays on offense, we've got JJ Smith, the best offensive player, maybe ever. Maybe ever at
He's
Ohio
up
State.
there.
He's up there. You know what I'm saying? If he's not the guy, by the time he leaves, he could very well be the guy. So I like our chances in a situation like that. And I think Ohio State's not coming to this game, blissfully unaware of what Texas did to them last time. And they know that they're going to adjust, and Texas is going to adjust, and then they've got to plan that adjustment to the adjustment, and
Yeah.
so it goes. But the way that they're using JJ, I think it's going to be really, really difficult for teams to scheme him away just because he is lining up all over the field.
Yep, I agree. And real quick, I have a little confession about our running backs, specifically Donaldson. So listen, you know how Nevada, if you have a certain take or a certain thought, and listen, we're real talk guys. We like to just kind of tell you what we thinking, but there's sometimes you're like, I don't know if I'm going to put that out there. I heard Jake Butt, and shout out to Jake Butt. He's like the only Team Up North analyst I actually respect. He's actually solid. I mean, he's honest, solid, and he's not a hater like the Desmond Howards and those clowns in the media from Michigan. Jake Butt is a solid cat. But I say that to say, he made a comparison for Donaldson, Nevada, that I promise you, I was thinking it and I was tempted to say it, and I was like, no, I can't do it because I need to see more, but I think I see it, and that's Carlos Hyde. He called him Carlos Hyde, and I promise you, I was like, man, he could be another Carlos Hyde for us. But I got so much love for Carlos Hyde, I kind of held my tongue. But that was exciting to hear him say that, because I think with Donaldson, his explosiveness, losing that weight, but yet still being a load to bring down, I think because Carlos Hyde, he wasn't about the Percy Harvin you in the open field, but he could outrun angles. He was a hard guy to bring down. And so I think if he's anything close to Carlos Hyde, watch out, Nevada.
Well, it's Carlos is it's interesting because Carlos was such an enigma early in his career at Ohio State. I mean, Carlos, when Urban Meyer came to Ohio State, he had the meeting with Carlos Hyde where he told him to pack his stuff and leave. Like that literally was the meeting, because he thought that Carlos Hyde was a lost cause. He thought Carlos Hyde was a guy that would never amount to anything at Ohio State. And Carlos Hyde pulled it together, and not only pulled it together, but completely turned it around. And then what did he play in the NFL? 10 years or something like that. I mean, just some ridiculous production in the NFL. And yeah, if CJ can be, 75% of the back that Carlos Hyde was at Ohio State, good Carlos Hyde, not early years malcontent Carlos Hyde, it would be amazing. Yeah, because I mean, when Carlos was rolling, man, I mean that offense was so much fun to watch. That was back in the Jordan Hall days. That was back in the good old days when Ohio State would average 6-7 yards a carry. Everybody on the team ran it up there, and yeah, he was terrific. And I like I said, I hope that CJ can be that kind of back, because that certainly would help out this 2025 offense in a big way. I think you're on mute because you're so excited.
Yes, I'm muted. Good thing my little program said Mike is muted. I already kept on talking. And then I heard Nevada say it, of course. But over the weekend, your boys Donaldson and Peoples, they refer to themselves as Sonic and Knuckles. Now, I understand the Michigan fans who are also Lions fans will say, no, it's already taken by the Lions. We know this is the college level. Let them be the Sonic and Knuckles of college. Shut up. All right. The point is, them boys said they Sonic and Knuckles. So I made a little reel, to have some fun with it. But yeah, I'm excited about the potential of this backfield for sure. And so, yeah, if he can be, anything like Carlos Hyde, whom I love, his toughness mixed with his speed. And like you said, the malcontent early version, he really matured and became a reliable leader on that field. So, yeah, just the excitement is building. And I really believe that with our weapons on the outside, now, I don't know, Nevada, if we don't know what the attack is going to be specifically just yet, as far as like the first snap or the first series, but our wideouts, our tight ends, I really believe can open things up for the run game. And so I think massive holes, can be there for these backs to exploit, and just trying to bring down Donaldson in the open field, either one of them for real, but Donaldson in the open field is going to be a real task. So I'm excited, man. I'm definitely excited. And
okay,
yeah, I see y'all super chats coming in. Go ahead, Nevada.
First play call of the season. What if I gun to your head right now, B Moses? Make your prediction. Call what's the first play of the season. We're lining up. It says first down and 10 for the 25-yard line, 0-0 game. What's the first call?
Okay, so I think it's going to be based on what they see pre-snap. And what I think they're going to see, I'm going to go with, it's going to be a wide receiver. It's going to be a throw to the flat to either Ennis or Tate. I think that's going to be the read. I think Sayan is going to see the matchup out wide based on what Texas defense is doing, and he's going to have the option to choose, and he's going to throw it out to Tate, and they're going to block it up. We're going to get maybe 5 or 6 yards on first down, and then we're going to go, and then we're going to run the ball, etc. I think that's the first thing I envision based off the look that Texas gives us. But that's a pure guess. That's a pure guess. What you think?
I think we're going to line up two tight end look and run play action where you they fake the thing. He's going to roll out and he's going to hit Max Clare with a little
I
tight end
like it.
release. You know what
I
I'm
like
saying?
it.
Kind of get Max, kind of catch the ball, like 7-8 yard game there to start, 2nd and 2, and then we kind of roll from there. So I kind of see him rolling out, putting Sane on the edge, um, on the thing. So that would be my guess. But watch Ohio, because I mean, imagine if Ohio State lines it up. They do the thing off the big offseason, do the thing, and then they run like Dave right up the middle, and it gets like 1 yard, and it's like 7-9, and then
Dave. I have
everybody starts
nightmares of Dave with Tressel.
everybody starts booing. All of a sudden, it's like it's just like, oh man, the honeymoon's over. We just started booing right away. So I don't think they'll risk that. I think Brian Hartline he'll call something. But you wonder if Texas is looking for that. If I'm I'm a defensive coach by nature, I'd be like, hey guys, they're going to pass first down. They have to be passed in the first down. They're not going to run because they don't want to have the boo birds come out right away at the stadium. So I mean. That's why I'm going to say pass first down, final answer.
Hey, real quick, I'll say this. Why not try to I remember I went to the Akron game last year, and the first pass that Jeremiah Smith got targeted with, we all know what that is, right? It was the dropped screen pass that would have went absolutely for a touchdown. For y'all who didn't see on TV, because they did not show the overhead on TV, I don't think. In the stadium, oh my God. If he catches that ball, 70-yard touchdown. I mean, like you thought I was out there with my staff, Moses, like the seas just parted and it would have been an easy touchdown. He dropped it, but obviously the rest is history. So I would love to have that same tunnel screen for JJ, maybe the second or third play of the game, and just set the shoe on fire. So we'll see. We'll see about that. But also, real quick, officially, I'm going to the Texas game. I made it happen. I'll be in the building for sure. I was debating, should I wait? Should I do now? Man, I said, screw it, man. I got to be there. So I'll be there. I'm excited. And so I will be losing my voice. The next pod you hear me on, most likely, I'll be the 95-year-old, chain smoker named Ethel after the game. So I'm very, very excited about that. But anyway. So yeah, those are good guesses for the first play. Now, let me ask you this. And defensively, let me ask you this. Does anybody get a sack on the first series defensively? And if so, who gets the sack?
Well, I'd love to pull out some obscure name, but I'm going to go with Kenyatta Jackson just because. I mean, he's having a big fall, man. I'm telling you what, he's having a big fall, and he was a guy that, frankly, I haven't been high on throughout his career at Ohio State. I know the people have been higher on him. I haven't been. I'm not saying I wasn't a fan, but I just felt like there was more for him to give. Well, he's given it now. He's given it now, and he's really making the most of his opportunities. So yeah, if there's gonna be a sack, if I have to pick somebody up front, I'm gonna say Kenyatta Jackson. But if not, I was gonna go with Arvell Reese just because Arvell is a heat-seeking missile from the linebacker spot, and Matty P is not going to be afraid to bring those guys up and rush them. He loves what Arvell Reese could do with that, and they love playing games with other guys that free Arvell Reese up to do his thing. So Arvell Reese. Or if it's Arvell Reese, if I have to pick one guy, Kenyatta Jackson, if I have to pick a defensive lineman. So that's final answer.
Okay. Well, I got to pick. I'm going with the big fella. So this is what's going to happen. Kenyatta Jackson is going to have an awesome swim move, blows past his guy. And then on the opposite side, we're going to say Caden Curry is there holding serve, making arch, try to go up the middle of the line. And here's your boy, big number 98, there to swallow him up and sack him. Caden McDonald with the first sack of the game. Let's go. Let's do it.
He's looking a little thinner. He's looking like he's lost some of that big belly. You know what I'm saying? That, like, I'm telling you,
He looks convincing, doesn't he? I'm convinced that he's mean. What about you?
He's a bad. I'm convinced he's going to be a centimillionaire in the NFL. That's what I'm convinced.
Yeah, he's like, you gonna eat your cornbread? Like, he got that all over him.
Guys like that make lots of money, man. He's going to make a lot of money.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And listen, I in my practice nugget note or whatever I wrote up, one thing that I saw him do that was just like, oh Jesus, this dude ran down. I forget who the ball carrier was, but McDonald ran from the middle of the line all the way to the flat to chase him down and help tackle him. Like, so just to see this big line stuffing, middle guy plugger run out to the flat like he did and make the tackle was just like, uh-oh. Like this, this ain't just he's just not settling with being the run stuffer guy. He wants to be an all-American. He wants to be hustle, but when you see guys like Tyleik Williams in front of you for years, it's kind of hard not to duplicate that. But super excited about McDonald and this defensive line for all the reasons that we've stated. So, yeah. So, listen, we got a super chat here. And it says, from Jim, what's up, brother? Thank you for the 1999. Excuse me, Matt Patricia confused Uncle Peyton a few times in the NFL. That's a good point. What you think about that, Nevada? That's a good point.
Well, I mean, that's high praise, and considering that Peyton Manning's one of the best, he's got to be up there in the discussion. That's certainly the smartest quarterbacks that ever play the game, certainly the most accomplished. So, yeah, to have dueled with one of the other Mannings. I mean, Arch by comparison, obviously, way less experience, and
Right.
and also, Arch has never had to play in an environment like, when you're back and you watch those games, the Mississippi State game, Louisiana Monroe game, he's had to play in a game like playing in the shoe, and
Right.
so it's maybe one of the first times he's ever had to play where there's been crowd noise, like legitimate crowd noise. So for him, that's going to be something that's going to be a little bit of an adjustment, and no matter who you are, no matter what you say, you can't, if the shoe is rocking, you can't really adjust for that kind of an environment. And we've challenged the Ohio State fans to bring it. I know they will, but yeah, that's going to be a big part of it, is confusing him, taking away his first read, and making him do stuff that he doesn't really want to do.
Yep. And I'm going to say it again, y'all. Like I said, we'll be in the building and all that, but we got some doubters. We got some doubters, Buckeye Nation, amongst even our own fans who just don't think we're going to bring it. It's a noon game. It's a sleepy noon game, right? We're butthurt about Texas giving us another sleepy big noon game. And our crowd is going to be flat, and Arch Manning's just going to thrive in a comfortable environment. We cannot listen. I trust y'all, but let's double down and make sure we are indeed nuts in that crowd. You feel me? Like from start to finish. Okay. You old folks, you know what I'm saying? Extra nap in before you go to the game. Make sure you got maximum energy. Scream your lungs out. Just get it in, y'all, because we really, really, really need to make this a snake pit for them, for Arch to come into, because like Nevada said, he has zero experience in this type of environment or this potential environment. Now, I trust you. I believe in you. Me and Nevada believe in you, okay? But I'm just giving you another quick pep talk that, hey, what's today, the 10th? We got 20 days. We got less than 3 weeks until game day. We're going to blink, and it's going to be here. So, listen, don't think about, oh, this should have been a night game, 3:30 game. None of that. Get prepared and be crazy. I want the TV screen to shake. I want the announcers to say, oh, my God, like the shoe is rocking. All of that stuff. I want Gus to lose his voice like he always does in every broadcast. His voice cracks. Let's get it, y'all. All right, pep talk over.
Yeah. But let me say one more thing on that too. Like, because you bring up a really good point. As an Ohio State fan, you should be pissed that this game is at noon. And you know whose fault that is? It's Texas's fault. It's Texas's fault because they wouldn't move the game. So, like, if you're mad about big noon things, or if you're mad about that, take it out on Texas, man. I mean, like, they're the ones who did the thing. They wouldn't move the game to Sunday night. I mean, a Sunday night. If this game was Sunday night, this would be the biggest home opener, the biggest opening college football game in the history of college football, and it still might be. But like, the fact that it's not a night, we were robbed of that by Texas. So like, for the fans, man, yeah, it's okay to be angry. It's okay to be like, just like we were angry about Tennessee talking all that junk about taking our goalposts and throwing them in the Olentangy and taking over the stadium and all stuff like that. Well, let's bring the noise against Texas and punish them for not letting us be a night game like it should have been.
Yep, that's a great point, man. Come on, let's take it out on them. This could have been a Sunday night game, prime time.
Oh, with Monday, Monday a holiday and everything, we could just I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's a great point, Nevada. So yeah, let's. I might have to clip that and post that on the socials, and you know what I'm saying, and get it and help Bjork out. You know what I'm saying? Another extension of the athletic department. All right, got the next one here from Luke Nicely. Excuse me. Thanks for the $4.99. Do you think the NCAA is waiting till the season gets closer to drop the hammer? I love hearing O-line is going to be awesome. OH, Nevada? So I'll jump on this one first. So I know, a lot of people have theories. And listen, I'll remind people because I even saw it on Twitter this past weekend, and I was very tempted to respond. But I thought to myself, I'm tired of responding. I'm tired of, bringing facts for people who are bringing misinformation. First of all, again, to remind y'all, it's a 30 to 90-day window. That is what Charlie Baker said. From the hearing was June 7th. We are about, the 64th day, something like that. So there's that. It literally can happen any day now, okay? We can speculate, and say maybe it was coming last week, maybe it's coming this week. All of that is fine because it's within the window, okay? So there's that. But the homie Intrinsic, what up, Trinzy? I know you watching. He did some research and gave some recent examples. So here's some examples for you. For UCLA and Tennessee, for their case, their news dropped on the 75th and 84th day of the 30 to 90-day window, okay? Does that mean that it's going to be 75 and 84 days exactly? No, it's just giving you a comparison of what it could be. They waited that long within the 30 to 90-day window. So it's a possibility. So sure, we're hoping it drops tomorrow or this week. But if it doesn't, it's still within the window and it's coming. Some of you idiots out there are talking extra greasy, like, oh, we're wrong because the hammer hasn't dropped yet. The hammer is coming. It's not going to magically disappear. The sanctions are going to come out. Okay, they're coming. So all of this reaching and mental gymnastics and trying to see you're wrong is just stupid. And you're going to look like an idiot, and you'll probably act like you never said anything. Y'all know if the shoe fits, I'm talking to you, okay? It's coming, all right? Be patient, haters. It's coming. Nevada, go ahead, brother.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, the idea that this is some sort of an own because the hammer hasn't dropped yet because they haven't issued their ruling yet is just, I mean, it's just so silly.
It's
like,
annoying.
I mean, it's just like, I don't know, I just laugh because I'm just like, okay. And, hey, like I said, for Michigan fans, if you were just getting that apology in that fruit basket, you would think that decision would have been really quick. They'd come out like maybe like 7 days after that thing. They just sent it over to like one of those like those edible arrangements or something like that they kind of put over there or something like that. But they're working on something. They're spending a lot of time on legal on something.
There it is.
Yeah,
edible arrangements for Michigan.
I like those. I like those. Get the pineapple. Got the pineapple in there and stuff like that and stuff. So, I mean,
there's
like,
your
come
fruit
on.
basket.
So no, there is a process. This is followed. Nothing has deviated from. That's the funny thing about this is nothing has deviated from the timeline. I mean, everything's followed exactly. So the thing. So, like, for them to think that this is some sort of spike the ball moment. You're spiking the ball kind of like Deshaun Jackson did in the All-American game when he was in high school and he spiked it on like the 2-yard line and they returned the ball. It's like you're being premature, guys, and being premature in your life, as you guys know, is bad for you. So stop being premature.
Yes, and stop being intellectually dishonest. Claiming that we've given dates. We've never given a specific date. We've already debunked all of this foolishness, but they keep trying. It's cool though. It's cool. Any day now, it's gonna pop, and we'll be laughing. So there's that. All right, and then we got the homie Mike Green. Thanks for the $4.99. What's up, brother? Matty P is a downgrade in all caps, according to Locked On Penn State. Jim Knowles is more accomplished than a 3-time Super Bowl champion. Blasphemous. Listen, of course, Penn State and, some of their people are going to, Harold knows that, obviously we stole him from Ohio State and he's better and they're going to be worse on defense. Listen, I appreciate Jim Knowles. I don't like how he handled the whole situation. I didn't care for that. Um, you know, it, but he did a good job overall here. We won a natty. I'm not bitter at Jim Knowles. I'll tell you what, though, I'm excited about Matt Patricia. And you know who else is excited about Matt Patricia? Ryan Day and this coaching staff and these players. And as I've said before, listening to Ryan Day's response, his when he's asked about Matt Patricia, I mean, he's giddy with excitement. I don't remember him being that excited about Knowles. He was excited because it's a good hire, but he's downright giddy about Matty P. And so, hey, they can say what they want to say, Mike. Say what they want to say. They got to come to the shoe, okay? Number one. And Matty P, like you said, you know, he's not some schmuck, some bum who's trying to cut his teeth. He's a veteran. He's been around the block, and now he has all these weapons and these athletes at his disposal. Yeah, go ahead, keep talking, Nevada.
Yeah, look, I'm probably even higher on Knowles than you are. I think Jim was great at Ohio
Yeah,
State, and we'll forever put him on the annals of great defensive coordinators for bringing us the national championship. But he's gone now, and like you said, you've got. I think Jim took the defense as far as it could go under him, and I think Matt's a new voice, and kind of sometimes you need that to kind of even you get to different heights. Now, will we be as good as last year with all those veterans? Don't know, but we're going to be awfully good. We're going to be different, that's for sure. And for Jim, the Penn State defense was a lot of Abdul Carter last year, and you don't have him anymore. So
yep.
it's like, I mean, Jim's good, but he's a little old. He's kind of like B Moses out there, being a little old out there. He can't not as springy as he used to be out there. You know what I'm saying?
Like the
So
spring
Jim,
chicken I
Jim can't.
was.
Jim can't play out there on the field. I posted that GIF in your thing up that you out there playing football with the guys and stuff like that, and I put a little thing out there of you playing there with them. But it's not the X's and O's, it's the Jimmys and Joes, and he lost a big Jimmy and Joe and Abdul Carter because that's a heck of a player, and so we'll see. And typically Jim's system takes a couple of years to kind of get implemented too.
Yeah,
So
true.
we'll have to see how that thing rolls and how he does this year because they're counting on it being a national championship year. That'd be quite an accomplishment.
Absolutely. And real quick, as we close out, I wanted to give a shameless plug because we're talking about getting the crowd hype. So, shameless plug. I have a song called "You Know What Time It Is." It's on all the streaming platforms. It is a energy anthem, Buckeye anthem, get you fired up type joint, featuring you see the man on the right, former linebacker Curtis Grant from the 2014 national championship team. He is on the song "Getting You Fired Up," and my homie Ron Lyles on the left singing the Carmen, Ohio bit. So play this in the stadium. That'll guarantee to get Matthew McConaughey all right, and running back to his Lincoln, and in fear and terror. So make sure you do that. But anyway, so yeah, listen, another great show. So happy to be back this week. Again, we're on Hammer Watch. It could happen any day. If it doesn't, it's still gonna happen. So keep talking. It don't matter. Okay. So also another week closer to naming a starting quarterback. We've been saying for a while, it's going to be saying that's not a knock on Keen Hose. We love Keen Hose. He needs to play probably in some situations, but saying is the guy. We're excited and we're almost there, y'all. It's almost time for kickoff, and I'm excited about it. What you got, Nevada, before we close out?
Yeah, no, it's so close you can almost taste it now. We're getting ready for the Texas game, and it's hard to believe. It's hard to believe that the off seasons just they seem to get shorter and shorter every year, and this one's the shortest of all time with that long season and this huge first game. So I'm ready for 2025, and Ohio State's ready, looking good, having a great fall camp, and knock on wood, no big injuries. So let's go.
Yep, no injuries. Absolutely. One last super chat from Mike Green, 499. Thank you for that. Listen, Nevada, I love you, but I don't love blitzes on 3rd and 10 with 1-on-1 on the outside. Jimmy was almost ran out of the Woody from Ryan Day. So, what you got to say about that, Nevada?
Yeah, no, I understand. That's it's I get it. I get it. It's like everybody's got a different approach. Everybody's got a different thing that they want to do. I'm saying that, and And it's the Nevada Buck theory is not for everybody, but I respect that you have a different view on this.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And you know, we gonna see. Like I said, they got to come to the shoe, and we got Matty P. Listen, I'm happy. I appreciate Nose, but I'm not looking over at Penn State like, dang, I wish we still had Nose. Nah, man, we good over here.
No.
We good over
Yeah.
here. So, but anyway, listen, we'll see y'all tomorrow. Love y'all, Buckeye Scoop family. Peace and go Bucks.